So, without any more discussion, I'd like to welcome Samuel.
It's an honor for me always to be here and talk to you about Latin American things. First of all, let me begin by saying that in Venezuela we have today, right now, an emergency due to the extreme weather phenomenon of rains. We have been having the worst rains of the last 120 years. It's incredible what's going on right now in Venezuela. But what I want to emphasize with this information is there are two things I want to emphasize. First, that climate change is not a rhetorical proposition for us. It's a real fact of life, and we are suffering it right now. Last year we had the worst drought in 60 years. This year we have the worst rains in 120 years. Something going on there. And second, that although we are in one of the most extreme years in weather in Venezuela, the rapid response of the government has helped a lot the victims of the situation. And although the situation is really bad, it's not ever as bad as it was in 1999. So organization, preparation, and will to act fast is important to confront these situations. We are not asking for help right now, what we are asking is for understanding why we are reacting in that particular way. WikiLeaks spent last night reading tens of cables on Venezuela. WikiLeaks is another expression exactly like climate change, how the powerful and the rich control the world and how they manipulate the weak and the poor and the minorities. In the case of Venezuela, let me give you my Venezuelan perspective. What I found astonishing is how much effort, money, time the United States spends to destroy the efforts of small countries to sort themselves out. Our social policy in Venezuela is to help the poor, education, health, housing, infrastructure. Our social policy in Latin America, along with Cuba and other brother countries and sister countries as well, is to help ourselves through medical doctors, housing, campaigns against literacy. But the social policy of the United States and Latin America is to destroy our social policies. And you can read that exactly in WikiLeaks. One example of that is the marvelous cooperation, never ever seen before, between Cuba and Venezuela, more than 20,000 Cuban doctors working in Venezuela. And what's the effort of the American Embassy in Venezuela? To lure away medical doctors to Miami in order to destroy the program in Venezuela. That's what they spend their money on. And it's incredible how much effort. They can outspend us if they want in Latin America, helping the poor, doing good things for good, health, education, whatever. But they decided on purpose to outspend us in a war, secret operations, destroying our social policies, trying to lure away the medical doctors. It's incredible what they are doing there. The other area where they spend their time and money is to isolate Venezuela and also Cuba and Ecuador and Bolivia and the rest from the rest of the international community by smearing campaigns, slanders, and spinning information. They use information that you can find in the press, which is actually wrong, but they repeat it and repeat it again, and you can really hear it in WikiLeaks. For example, they know that there is not any uranium mining at the moment in Venezuela, but they themselves say in their own cables, we shouldn't underestimate this information because it can be useful for us. So they repeat and repeat that we are producing uranium to sell it to Iran, to build nuclear weapons, and so on, and they know because of their own Venezuelans, informers, told them that there is not any uranium mine in Venezuela at the moment, but they repeat it. And so you can see all over again that the United States policy towards Latin America is almost a social war to destroy the progressive governments in Latin America. I was trying to find out a right word to describe your situation, and I found it last night at the dictionary. Prevaricate. according to the dictionary, prevaricate is to undertake a thing falsely and deceitfully with the purpose of defeating or destroying it. That's what they are doing with us, prevaricating. Exactly, that's the policy, you can define that. And it's incredible because you can see how they see us as a danger for their own interests. The most powerful country in the world see little Cuba, little Venezuela, little Ecuador as dangerous to the powers. It's incredible how come they can get to that point of view, but that's the way they are acting. My last point, I know I can't speak too much, is that our social policy is an integral part of our worldview in how to act around the world. And we think that what we're doing in Venezuela can be done in Latin America, can be done in the rest of the world. It's not expansionism, it's not imperialism, it's that we want to collaborate with people like us to do more or less the same thing everywhere in their own place. And what I found again incredible is that in this present situation, world economic situation, where the poor are being cheated, is the right word here, by the powerful again, taking their money, taking their savings, bankers and governments cutting social benefits. Every time we complain about that, you see the Americans in their own cables saying they are fed up with us because Chavez talks too much. And they wish, exactly, it's not rightly themselves, they wish that Chavez would listen to the King of Spain advice to shut up. That we wish him to shut up because we're fed up with so many comments, anti-American comments they call it. And the penultimate point is this one. We think that the American international or foreign policy is controlled by Mr. Obama. And I wish so, but I found it's not true. There is an important section of the American policy, foreign policy, which is also controlled by Congress. And the last elections in Congress in the United States, the results gave the Republicans control of the House of Representatives. And you could find in the Committee on Foreign Affairs of the House of Representatives very extreme ultra-right people trying to push a more aggressive policy towards Latin America. One example of that, even before the last election, was Honduras. You may see yourself again in WikiLeaks that the Americans knew that there was a coup d'etat themselves, but then prevaricated when they came out saying that they didn't know what was going on. But at the end, what happened within the bureaucracy in the US was that the ultra-right people in the US, in the Congress, the Republican people, negotiated with the government, the executive branch, that they should support Micheletti, and in exchange, they would get approval from the House of Representatives to appoint a new subsecretary for Latin American Affairs, Mr. Venezuela, and a new ambassador to Brazil, American ambassador to Brazil. Exchanging this approval in Congress, they got from the executive branch that they would allow the coup d'etat in Honduras to go on. More or less the same thing they are trying to do with the rest of Latin America now and in the future, and we have to pay attention. The militarization, the secret operations of the United States in America, Latin America, are going to go on now more than ever. And in the same way that they say that we have to put up and shut up, and in the same way that they are asking the rest of the world to put up and shut up, in the same way that they are asking you to put up and shut up, I can tell you that we won't put up and shut up, and we hope we